men in plural marriage sort of have a tendency to gravitate.
In today's shocking update from Glow Gossips USA, the walls around the Brown family are crumbling faster than ever before, and this time the wreckage is beyond repair. The once sacred bonds between the sister wives are now shrouded in betrayal. Taboo rumors, and a silence so loud it's deafening, a secret pregnancy, a forbidden connection, a mother's heartbreak, and a patriarch spiraling toward disgrace. What really happened between Kody Brown and his stepdaughter Aurora? Why is Robyn, once the most composed wife of the bunch, now rumored to have suffered a full-blown breakdown? And what's pushed Meri to finally break the silence after years of painful loyalty? It all begins with a moment no one expected. Aurora, the quiet, introverted daughter Robyn brought into the family, is at the center of a scandal that is shaking fans and family members alike. Rumors of a secret pregnancy have exploded across social media. But what's even more disturbing are the whispers about Kody's involvement. Allegations of an inappropriate relationship have begun to surface, and while nothing has been officially confirmed, the tension and silence from the Browns are doing little to ease speculation. And then came the most disturbing twist of all. Reports began to circulate that Robyn had suffered a near-fatal heart attack upon learning the truth. Sources close to the family suggest the emotional weight of the scandal was too much for her to bear, especially when combined with the shame, betrayal, and isolation she's facing. As the family fractures under the weight of these allegations, Kody's next move is raising even more eyebrows. Not only has he refused to deny the disturbing claims, but he's reportedly planning to leave the country altogether, possibly relocating to Europe with Aurora. Yes, you heard that right. Kody Brown, the once proud polygamist, is supposedly plotting a new life with his stepdaughter, while the rest of the family stands in stunned silence. Meanwhile, the House of Lies is starting to crack in other places too. Robyn's web of manipulation, once so carefully spun, is unraveling, and Meri is no longer pretending not to see it. For years, Meri stood by Robyn's side. When Christine walked away, when Janelle demanded distance, Meri stayed, loyal, silent, broken. Fans questioned her strength, her choices, and her silence. But now, in the explosive later half of season 19, Meri is stepping forward with a voice that's been buried for far too long. She's done protecting everyone else. She's done sacrificing her truth for the illusion of family unity. It started quietly with her emotional interview during a reunion with former tell-all host Tamron Hall, a host who herself was ousted from the show for pressing the Browns a little too hard. Tamron's departure, which shocked longtime viewers, was reportedly due to her refusal to sugarcoat the dysfunction brewing within the Brown household. But Meri wasn't holding back anymore. She opened up about her split from Kody, the loneliness, the rejection, the false promises, and more painfully, her deepening disillusionment with Robyn. According to Meri, Robyn isn't the victim she's always claimed to be. Instead, she's the quiet puppeteer behind so much of the chaos. Manipulative, calculated, and yet heartbreakingly convincing. Robyn's response came fast and sharp in a separate interview where she sobbed, "I always had Meri's back, even when everyone else was turning on her." She painted herself as a faithful friend abandoned without reason. But behind her wounded words was an undertone of guilt and confusion. "Why say you want a relationship with me and then just disappear?" she asked. But fans weren't buying the act anymore. There was always something off about the Flagstaff move, something dark that followed them there. That fateful relocation marked the beginning of the end. Christine was the first to see through the lies and walk away. Then Janelle followed, and finally, even Meri, the woman who once clung so tightly to a broken dream, let go. But her decision didn't come overnight. It came after countless nights spent wondering why she was never enough. It came after years of defending Robyn, only to realize she had been nothing more than a placeholder in someone else's game. Now, in a stunning twist teased in upcoming season 19 footage, Meri is heard in a private conversation with close friend Jen Sullivan. And for the first time, she's admitting what fans have screamed for years, that Robyn's version of events doesn't always line up with reality. Jen cautiously raised the idea. "Do you think she manipulated you?" And Meri, visibly shaken, responded, not with denial, but with confusion. She didn't know. Or maybe deep down she did. She just wanted to protect herself, not blind me, Meri insisted. But Jen's eyes said what many were already thinking. It wasn't just protection. It was control, and it had lasted far too long. As Meri slowly awakens to the reality around her, the inner circle that once protected Robyn has started to dissolve. Even fans who once sympathized with her are asking hard questions. Is Robyn really the broken wife she appears to be, or has she been pulling the strings all along while playing the victim? And what about Kody? He's not just the distant husband anymore. He's become the symbol of everything that's gone wrong. When asked about his next steps, sources say he's focused on a new spiritual path, one that includes Aurora. TLC's newly released synopsis confirms that Kody is preparing for Aurora's baptism into a controversial new church movement, and fans are deeply unsettled. Many believe this is just a mask for something darker, a plan to reframe his relationship with Aurora in a more spiritual light to avoid scrutiny. And if that wasn't enough, Meri's heartbreak is compounded by the years of loss she's experienced alone. Her story, once an inspiring tale of survival through plural marriage, has now become a cautionary tale of gaslighting, emotional abuse, and betrayal. She gave everything: her voice, her loyalty, her dignity, and now she's left picking up the pieces while Kody and Robyn flee from the wreckage they created. Meanwhile, the rest of the family has scattered. Christine has built a new life in Utah with David Woolley. Janelle is in North Carolina, helping her children and laying the foundation for a brand new home and a brand new beginning. Only Robyn remains with Kody, clinging to a man who seems more lost than ever. Despite all this, TLC is doubling down. Season 19. Part 2 promises more chaos, more heartbreak, and possibly the biggest scandal the show has ever aired. Viewers will watch as Janelle finally departs Flagstaff, aided by Christine in a powerful moment of sisterhood that stands in stark contrast to the deceit they left behind. They'll also see Meri battling the last threads of loyalty she still holds for Robyn, struggling to reconcile the woman she once called her sister with the manipulator who stood by while her world collapsed. Kody's finances are in disarray, his relationships shattered, and yet his obsession with Aurora remains front and center, raising terrifying questions about where his priorities truly lie. Online, fans are divided. Some are calling for the show to finally end, insisting the story is played out and the damage irreversible. It's just 50% recap, 40% filler, and 10% actual content, one viral post read. But others can't look away. They're still glued to every episode, desperate to see how it all finally implodes. And with ratings unexpectedly surging to their highest levels in years, TLC has no intention of letting go. The drama is too good, the stakes are too high, and the darkness has only just begun to surface. From whispered secrets to hospital visits, broken alliances to taboo betrayals, the Brown family has never been more fragile. And if what we've seen so far is only the beginning, then buckle up, because this season is about to take us into the heart of a scandal no one will.
I thought it was acceptable. I thought I could make up the difference. I thought everything in this situation with all three wives.
Just when fans thought the Brown family saga couldn't get any darker, another wave of emotional upheaval crashes in, and this time it's tangled in money, grief, betrayal, and a new generation caught in the crossfire. Welcome back to Glow Gossips, USA, where the chaos never ends, and the truth is always more shocking than fiction. As season 19 barrels toward its most controversial chapters, viewers are holding their breath, because what's unfolding now could be the final nail in the coffin for the sister wives' legacy. For those still hoping the devastating loss of Garrison Brown might bring the family back together, reality has been cruel. The sorrow was real, the loss undeniable, but unity, nowhere to be found. Instead of healing, more fractures have appeared. Questions are circling like vultures. Has the show even caught up to the year of Garrison's death? Or is TLC dragging the past into the future for the sake of keeping the drama alive? One commenter put it plainly: "We're watching ghosts pretend they're still a family." And maybe they're right. Behind the cameras, the real business of dissolution was quietly taking place. The infamous Coyote Pass property, the plot of land once hailed as the Brown family's legacy, has officially been sold. All of it. Every parcel. Gone. Kody, Robyn, Janelle, and Meri finalized the sale for a staggering $1. $5 million, walking away with a shared profit of nearly $680,000. A symbolic end to a dream that was never real to begin with. But Christine? She walked away with nothing. She sold her share for just $10. A number that now haunts the fandom like a ghost. That $10 wasn't just a transaction. It was a statement. A clean break. A goodbye soaked in betrayal. And now, with Christine, Janelle, and Meri all having built lives entirely outside the scope of Kody Brown, the illusion of the united Brown family is shattered beyond recognition. Robyn, the last remaining wife, sits alone in a monogamous marriage with Kody. But what remains of them is only shadows. Beneath the surface, the weight of grief, deception, and emotional abandonment continues to press down like a storm cloud refusing to lift. Season 19's Coyote Pass arc was expected to be slow, maybe even boring. But instead, it's revealed something sinister. Trauma doesn't just disappear. It waits. It festers. And when it resurfaces, it devours everything. What was once pitched as a family's fresh start turned into a battleground of ownership, silence, and control. And the cracks that began long ago have finally burst wide open. In earlier seasons, the land meant something, at least to some of them. Kody, Robyn, and Meri clung to it like a symbol of unity. But Christine and Janelle saw through it. They saw it as a leash, a lie, something sold to them as freedom when it was really a cage. At first, they stayed quiet. But things changed. The foundation cracked. The fantasy burned down. And what emerged from the ashes was the cold truth. This was never about land. It was about control. And Kody wasn't grieving his wives. He was grieving the loss of power. For Kody, Coyote Pass was more than real estate. It was the embodiment of everything he thought he could build. He saw it as his legacy. But the deeper his family fell apart, the more emotionally obsessed he became with that land. Not because of what it represented for them, but because it was the one thing he still thought he could control. But Christine left. She took her dignity and gave him the land for $10. An emotional gut punch wrapped in legal paperwork. That left Janelle and Meri to deal with the aftermath. The web of finances, resentment, and silence spun tighter and tighter until something had to snap. Janelle, always practical, finally snapped. She spoke openly with fire in her voice about just how much she had sacrificed, money, time, emotion, to make Coyote Pass a reality. She admitted, with heartbreaking honesty, that the land had become nothing but a burden, a source of pain, and a reminder of everything she lost. Her words were sharp, honest, and full of long-buried fury, not just at Kody, but at the system they all willingly walked into and now couldn't escape from. Meri, in contrast, remained quieter, but her silence was no longer passive. It was calculated, intentional. She may not have screamed her truth, but her actions spoke volumes. Slowly, strategically, she began severing ties, emotionally, legally, financially. Each move was a small rebellion, a quiet scream in the middle of the storm. For years, she was the wife who held on, the one who waited. But now she was letting go, completely. The sale of the land was the final curtain call. With Janelle and Meri cashing out, the dream of unity is officially dead. And yet, before the dust even settled, a new storm began to rise, this time from the next generation. Enter Coyote Brown Padron, daughter of Christine and Kody, and now a voice of her own. But she's not fighting for land, or legacy, or her father's approval. She's fighting a different kind of war, the war of motherhood and the toll it's taking on her soul. In a deeply emotional preview of the upcoming episode, Coyote, now 28, opens up about her pregnancy with twin sons Archer Banks and Ace McCord. Her delivery is imminent. Her nerves are raw and her truth is unfiltered. "I'm ready to be done," she says bluntly. Her confession hits hard. Pregnancy hasn't been a joyful glow for her. It's been a daily struggle, a physical and emotional drain. And she's not pretending otherwise. It's miserable. It's literally awful. She means it. She feels it. And fans see a new kind of courage in her vulnerability. Coyote is scheduled for a C-section, a decision that didn't come lightly. But as she explains her choice, there's a deep clarity in her voice. I'm letting go of the idea of a vaginal birth and accepting what's best for me and the babies. It's a simple statement, but in the Brown family, letting go of expectations is a radical act. And as she speaks, the support comes from the one person who always shows up, Christine. Christine, radiant and full of hope, beams at the mention of the procedure. She's not just excited, she's eager. When McKelty jokes about being offered a mirror to watch the C-section in real time, Christine's reaction is instant. Sign me up for that. It's a moment of levity in a sea of heartbreak, a glimpse of light in a story that's grown so heavy. McKelty smiles at her mother's enthusiasm. Even in her pain, she's not alone. But as one woman brings life into the world, another faces the final death of a dream. Meri's reaction to Kody's secret redistribution of land is no longer calm. It's explosive. She's no longer the silent wife. She's the one stepping away from the fire and leaving behind ashes and rage. This version of Meri is unrecognizable to the fans who watched her stand by for decades. And now, they're rooting for her louder than ever. As the Coyote Pass drama finally comes to a dramatic close and the last financial ties are cut, a heavy question hangs in the air. What now? With the land sold, marriages dissolved, and new lives being born, what's left to tie the Browns together? Some viewers say nothing, that this is the final act. Others believe TLC will squeeze the drama until it runs dry because heartbreak sells and the Brown family never stops giving. But whether you're watching out of love, hate, or pure fascination, one thing is certain: this story is far from over.
I'm not telling Janelle to be more like Robyn. I'm telling Janelle just to be loyal. I have 100% loyalty from Robyn. So, okay,
The room stood still, like time had frozen inside those walls. Robyn's sobs echoed like a broken symphony, raw and relentless, as she clutched onto Aurora's childhood sweater, the same one she wore on her first day at the cul-de-sac. But this wasn't a memory worth cherishing. It was a reckoning. A storm had broken loose within the Brown household, and Aurora, the soft-spoken girl with trembling hands, was at the eye of it. Kody had vanished. His absence screamed louder than any word he could have said. Not a phone call, not a text, not even a sign of where he was hiding. The man who once paraded his patriarchal pride now seemed to have retreated like a coward, leaving Robyn alone to absorb the fallout. What kind of father runs away when his daughter is in crisis? That's the question circling in whispers around the town. But no one dares ask it aloud, not to Robyn. She's no longer the woman perched confidently beside Kody on camera. She's shattered, pale, hysterical. Aurora, barely able to face her mother, sat on the edge of the bed like she was waiting for a sentence to be delivered. She had always done everything to please her parents, followed rules, stayed out of the limelight, kept her emotions tucked tightly away. But now, she was the very reason the fragile illusion of Robyn and Kody's perfect home had finally cracked beyond repair. Robyn demanded answers, but none came. Who was the father? Was it someone they knew? Did Kody have anything to do with it? A question so wild it sent shivers across the fandom online. Speculation exploded the moment the pregnancy rumors hit the fan pages. Some twisted the narrative into unthinkable conspiracies. Others simply mourned the fall of a family that once stood united on national television. And where was Kody in my mind to all of this? That question haunted every room in the house. Some claimed he was holed up in a friend's cabin in Utah. Others said he was retreating to reflect, as if abandoning your daughter in crisis was a noble act of reflection. Christine, Janelle, and even Meri had all weighed in, each from their new independent lives. Christine sent a quiet prayer. Janelle refused to comment, though her silence spoke volumes. And Meri? Meri said what many others were thinking. If this was my child, I would have never left her side. Never. Robyn's breakdown became more than emotional. It became public. TLC's camera crew, uncertain whether to film or flee, captured her spiraling into desperation. Her mascara ran in black streaks, her voice cracked in screams, her hands trembled as she reached for answers that didn't exist. The woman who once seemed so composed, so controlling, now looked like someone who had lost everything. including the man she fought so hard to keep. Meanwhile, Aurora's eyes told a different story. Beneath the shame and fear was something else, a quiet defiance. She had been caged in the Brown family system for too long. Maybe, just maybe, this was her way out. Her way to break free from the weight of being the perfect daughter in a deeply flawed house. Some fans online suggested Aurora had intentionally leaked the news, that she was done being silent. Others argued she was a victim of Robyn and Kody's toxic parenting, a girl who never got to be her own person until now. Kody's reputation took yet another hit. Blogs lit up. Reddit threads boiled with rage. He abandons his wives and now his daughter, one user wrote. How low can he go? The answer apparently was lower than anyone imagined. The family was splintering in real time. TLC producers debated whether to air the footage or shield the Browns from further backlash. But let's face it, ratings talk. And this bombshell was the biggest plot twist since Christine left. The audience wanted answers, and they weren't going to stop digging until every dark secret was dragged into the light. Aurora hadn't named the father. Not yet. That single unanswered question loomed over everything. If it was someone from the crew, a family acquaintance, or, God forbid, someone within their circle, the implications were massive, and the longer she stayed silent, the wilder the theories grew. Robyn tried to regain control. She reached out to spiritual advisors, family therapists, even Christine, yes, Christine, in a moment of desperation. But Christine, ever graceful, kept her boundaries. She offered a name of a therapist, and that was it. No hugs, no tea, no reunion, just distance. As the days passed, the once quiet streets outside Robyn's home became crowded with press fans and curious neighbors. The scandal wasn't just tabloid material anymore. It was a full-blown media circus. And in the middle of it all sat a girl who had never asked for this spotlight, who now held the family's fate in her trembling hands. Kody finally resurfaced, not with compassion, not with strength, but with rage. He stormed into the house, days later, furious at the world for turning on him, furious at Aurora for bringing shame to their family, furious at Robyn for not handling it better. There were no apologies, just blame. But Robyn didn't take it. Not this time. She snapped, the kind of snap that shatters a marriage. You abandoned her, Kody. You left your own daughter when she needed you most, she screamed. And for once, the cameras didn't cut. TLC kept rolling, capturing a moment that may very well mark the final fracture of the Brown Empire. Aurora, watching from the stairs, said nothing. She simply walked past them, out the door, and disappeared down the street without looking back. And that's how it ended. Not with resolution, but with silence. A silence heavier than any scream, echoing through a house that was never really a home.